In this video, we talk to Kamal and he tells us everything about 3D renders, what they are, when should we use them, and can they really improve our Amazon's listing? Before we get there, if you like the content we create, do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And we have a special offer for you, so do not forget to check the description down below. Let's get straight into it. Welcome, Kamal. Welcome to the channel. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us how you help Amazon sellers?
Sure. Thank you so much, Sophia. First of all, thank you so much for having me on this channel once again. And I'm super excited to be here. So my name is Kamal, and I'm the founder and CEO of AMZ One Step. What we do is we help Amazon brands with their listings like product photography, product videos, A+ content, PPC, and of course, 3D rendering that we're going to talk about today.
Very cool. Okay, so I see that you offer a lot of different services for listings to improve our listings. So let's then discuss 3D rendering a little bit more into detail, because I've been hearing a lot about it in different forums and different groups, but I do not know too much about it myself. So what is 3D rendering and what value does it add to Amazon listings?
Yeah, so 3D rendering is getting popular in the Amazon space. So how it works is it's a process of creating your pictures virtually in a computer software. So what we do is we create the 3D model of your product in the software itself. And there are some popular softwares like 3ds Max, Mozo, and there's a bunch of other that you don't need to worry about. So we create the shape and we basically create a 3D model of that product in a software. Then we add a texture, color, and the smoothness to the product. And once the 3D model is complete, then you can take the pictures of that product virtually. You don't need a physical camera. You can just click the picture from that software, set up the lighting, set up the ISO aperture, and then you can render those pictures from the software. So this is how 3D rendering works. So it's all done virtually in a software. You don't need a physical product. You don't need a physical a camera or a photographer to do all that. You just need a 3D artist.
What are, in your view, the advantages of using 3D rendering surfaces versus normal product photography?
I'll kind of relate to the first question as well. Like what value does it add to your Amazon listing, and also what are some of the advantages? So the most important advantage is the quality. You really get high quality and flawless pictures. They look cleaner, they look much sharper, and it's a little bit better than sometimes a little bit better, sometimes a lot better than the regular product photography, because there's no human error. And another advantage would be that you are not limited to any number of angles. Once the 3D model is created in a software, you can get the 360 access to your product. You can get any angle that you want. Like, you can get the front angle, top angle, like 45-degree, bottom angle. Like you have access to your entire product. And with the product photography, you get limited pictures. Like if you hire a photographer, hey, how many pictures they're going to give you? Maybe they'll give you final images, or maybe 7, but they can give you 20 images, 25. But with the 3D rendering, you're not you're not limited to that. You can get as many angles as you need, and that really helps. And the other advantage is you don't need to ship your product to the product photographer. That saves a lot of the time. That saves a lot of time, and it can make your main image stand out. It can because when people are scrolling through the search pages, they're looking at everything looks about the same, but the 3D rendering images, they pop out, they stand out more, which can increase your click-through rate. And also the customer experience on your listing gets a lot better, because now people can see sharper and cleaner images on your listing. And the another thing that I would say, you can get access to the exploded components. Let's say if you're selling something which is electronic, or which has multiple pieces, you can show I don't know if you have seen it on Amazon, like you see others. For example, if it's a shower head, you would see every component of the shower head exploded, even though it's a one part, but you would see different components. So those are some of the cool things that you can do with the 3D rendering. So I think that's pretty cool, and it just gives you a competitive advantage.
Okay, so that's how they do it then, because I've seen it, but I didn't know how it was done. Sounds like you can kind of have images on demand every time you want to change something. That's really cool. And what are some of the disadvantages of 3D rendering?
Okay, if it's done poorly, it may look fake. that's what you do. So the artist that you're working with, you want to make sure that they know what they're doing, so that if it looks fake, it can, it can turn out from an advantage to a disadvantage. So you want to make sure that it looks as real as possible. So in some scenarios it may look fake, that you need to take care of. And the other disadvantage would be, like, let's say if you're a big seller, you have multiple SKUs, it takes time, to render, to do the 3D modeling, and to do the rendering of that product. It can take up to 2 days for one product, for one artist. So let's say if you have like 100 SKUs, that means it's going to take 200 days, unless you hire a super efficient person, or a team of multiple people. Versus in product photography, you can do it really, really quickly. You can, if you're doing product photography in white or even lifestyle images, you can do it a lot faster than the 3D rendering. So 3D rendering does take a little bit extra time, but also it adds a little bit of cost to it's versus just doing the product photography. If your product does come in bundle, if you're just selling, maybe for example, just one product, it's a lot cheaper to go with 3D rendering. But your product, a lot of the time Amazon sellers, they bundle their products. It's not just one product. It's like, let's say if it's a set of 5, with the different sizes and everything, or if you're bundling with other accessories, now you need to render each and every product, and it's not like per listing, it's per product. So you may end up paying a little bit more if you have products in bundle. And the alternate or solution to that is just 3D render your main product, and the accessories, you don't need to render them. So these are some of the disadvantages of 3D rendering, and it's not applicable to every category or every product. There's only selected or limited types of products that you can do 3D rendering for.
Okay, actually, which types of products would you say that are not suitable for 3D rendering?
So clothing would be one, and any soft surface products, which they are not recommended to go for the 3D rendering. But the products that I would recommend to go with the 3D rendering, which are hard surface products, which are, let's say, metal or transparent products, which reflects a lot of light, or if there is a product with a little bit of extra reflection, or you can say, I have even seen bags, they're soft surface, but I have seen really, really good results with the bags as well. So these are some of the products that you can 3D render. And also, the best judgment is take a look at your competitor, see what they are doing. If they're doing 3D rendering, you should do the 3D rendering. If they are not doing 3D rendering, but your product does fall into the other categories that I have mentioned, go for the 3D rendering, because that could be the low hanging fruit or the opportunity that you're missing on, that could make your listing stand out. Because just because if your competitors are doing it, you should do it. If they're not doing it, double check that if your product can be rendered. If yes, it will give you a huge, competitive advantage.
You mentioned time, type of product, and you mentioned if it's a bundle or not. What are other cases, if any, in which a seller should, instead of 3D rendering, opt for normal product photography?
Like, for example, if you're hiring models, and if you're doing multiple products at the same time, go with the product photography. Or if your product it's a clothing, or which may look fake in 3D rendering, then I would recommend go with the real life photography, because that's going to save you a lot of time. For example, if you hire one model, and that person can do the modeling for your maybe 5 or 6 other products too at the same time. That person can be in the videos too. If you're doing the videos, might as well get the lifestyle images as well with the same model from the same team. So in those kind of scenarios, I would highly recommend going with the product photography. It just saves you time. With the 3D rendering, it's good for main images, it's good for white background images, but they don't work really well for for the lifestyle images. And for the lifestyle images, what I would recommend is, what you can do is, you can, if you're going with the real life photography, just take a real picture. Or if you're not hiring the model, let's say if you're using the stock pictures, then what you need to do, just take a regular picture, make sure lighting's good, and then you can Photoshop into that stock images. So though for those, it's a mixture of, it really depends from product to product. So it's recommended to get in touch with an expert to know more about, like, if 3D rendering is the right fit for your for your product or not.
Got it. So in any case, if the person is not sure, they should always get in touch with an expert, talk to you, for example, and then they can decide if this is the best way to go about for this product or not.
100%, yeah.
Cool. Okay. And what is the process like? Because for me, it sounds very scientific or technological almost. I cannot imagine what actually making these 3D renders, like the process would look like. So what does it look like, and how can you do it for a product that you don't actually have physically with you?
I mean, that's a great point. So what you can do, all we need, or any 3D artist needs, is send them a product pictures from all different angles so that we can see how the product looks like. Just send us the dimensions of that product so that we know that what size it's going to be. And if your product does have any label on that, let's say if it's supplement, you have a label, send that PDF file, so that way it just makes the job a lot easier. So we just need those pictures, those labels and dimensions, and we can render the entire thing just by taking a look at that product. So you don't have to ship the product, but it's recommended to ship the product so that the artist can create exactly how the product looks. But if you don't send the product, you might ask for changes like 1 or 2 times, but the job will be done anyway. So that's what I would recommend. And also the good thing about doing the 3D rendering is a lot of the Amazon sellers who are using platforms like Kickstarter to launch their product, or who are building their audience before the product is launched, or if they are doing pre-sale or pre-order sale, 3D rendering works great because their product is still in production, and they can get the 3D renders done, and they can start promoting it even before the product launch. So that's where 3D rendering, comes in really handy for the product launches. I have seen lots of sellers who have built their Facebook communities, and they're promoting their products even on their website. They're promoting their products, like, let's say, coming soon, and they have those pictures already, and the product is not even completed yet. So that is one of that is also one of the advantages of having product 3D rendered beforehand. And you can also, like, for Kickstarter, or you can do split testing as well. Hey, let's say if you're developing a product, you can make the 3D model. Hey, which one looks great? And you can go with the better version and then have the production start. So it's not only beneficial for the listings, it's also beneficial for many other things. It can make your launch successful. It can you can do lots of surveys. Hey, I'm coming up with these 3 different concepts, and once 3D rendering is complete, and you can ask the same artist to make slight changes, it's not going to cost you that much, and you have lots of versions to work with.
Very, very cool. I love it already, and I wonder why I haven't used it before. And you can make animations as well, right? So you can animate your product somehow.
Yes. If your product is, let's say, for example, how to assemble, if you want to do an animation video of like how to assemble a product, like if it's a desk, and you want to do like how to install video, you can use those renders to make the animations as well. There's lots of other type, like I would say maybe the exploded components, you can use those animations in the videos too. And also, as I mentioned, you get 360 access to that product. You can ask, it's really, really easy to create a 360 video as well. Once you have done the 3D rendering, all we need to do is, hey, can you do the screen recording and rotate that product in the software? You get a 360 video of that product. It's super easy because now you have, as I mentioned in the beginning, 360 access to that product. So whether you need a 360 video, or you need animation, or you need, like, you can do a lot of things with with the 3D rendering. And also, let's say if your images are not working out, now you have access to 360 side of your product. You can change the pictures really quickly. You don't need to hire the photographer again to take more pictures. You can just use the same model and ask the renderer to just give you more angles. So you can do animations for sure.
Right. It looks like 3D render is, I think, the way to go for also for testing and everything, testing products, testing pictures, everything. And this leaves me with a question. Do you think, is everyone doing 3D renders? Because this concept is kind of new to me. I've only used normal product photography before, but now I wonder how many of the pictures of my competitors are actual pictures versus how many are digitally created. So do you think it's a thing that is prevalent right now, depending on the type of product, as you said?
Yes, there's a lot. There are some of the categories like supplement categories, or if your product is, falls into, like, let's say, reflective, or it's a metal. Some of those categories, like, highly, they're being dominated by, the sellers who are doing the 3D rendering. So it's goes from product to product. Some products you cannot do 3D rendering, and you should not do 3D rendering for. But there are some products where a lot of the advanced sellers, they're already doing the 3D rendering. So it's a mix. It's a mixture. Like, if you look at your competitors, I'm pretty sure some of them are will be doing 3D rendering. But if they're not, the best way to take a look is, if the picture looks like so good, that means it's 3D rendered. If it does not look so good, that means it's not that 3D rendered. How I take a look is how I make the judgment when you're looking at the competitor. Normally, product photography, you will see the reflection of the light on the product, and if the reflection is so perfect, that means either the product photography has been done, really, really well, or the product is 3D rendered. So you can also zoom in and, yeah, if it looks like perfectly fine, chance 90% of the time it's 3D rendered.
Okay, so if the product looks super perfect, probably it's 3D rendered. But is this Amazon compliant though? Because then we are maybe not representing our product 100% as it is.
That's a really good point. So what Amazon wants, they want the product photos only to be appeared on the on the listing images. And what 3D rendering is, it's not a product picture. It's an illustration of your product. And Amazon does not want drawings, illustrations to be on the listing images. They only want the product pictures. So technically, it's not Amazon compliant, but we have done, over 60,000 listing images, and we have never, and many of them are 3D rendered images, and we have never seen any listing taken down just because it was 3D rendered. Because it looks, if it looks good, it creates better customer experience for Amazon buyers, and that's what Amazon want. And if people are happy, if they're looking at a cleaner, sharper images, and they represent the product exactly the way it is, then Amazon won't have any problems. But technically, it's not compliant. But that does not mean that you should not do it, because when you download the image, that is also a .jpg file. When you do product photography, that's also a .jpg file. So there's no way for Amazon to figure it out unless it looks like an illustration. So if you do the job right, there's no way to figure it out.
Okay, so you should not go as far as misrepresent your product. And if you don't do that, then Amazon has no reason to flag you, because it's still your product.
Exactly.
Right. And as you said, Amazon, what they want is for the client to have, or for the customer, the user, to have the best experience possible. And in your experience, 3D render images convert better on Amazon than normal product photography.
There's no hardcore data or any study done, but based on our experience, 3D rendered images, they give you better click-through rate and also better conversion rate as compared to the regular photography images. So it does work well. That's what we have seen in terms of our clients, our experience. We have never seen any client who said, "Oh, my images are rendered and they're not converting well," or they won't. I've never seen someone, "Hey, I was doing product photography before, now I'm doing rendering and it's not doing well." I've never heard of that. So based on our experience and our own study, it converts a lot better than the regular images. But there's no significant, there's no study done by bigger organizations, to verify this claim.
I think this study should be done, because I think it would be interesting to understand, actually.
I know we're analyzing lots of things, but it's the sample size is really, really small. Because when we create images, we just create images and the project is done. We can only do studies on our reoccurring clients, and many of them have done the NDAs and everything, signed NDAs. So it's a work in progress. Maybe we will be the one, who'll come up with that study anytime soon. So at this point, the sample size is small, but based on experience, it's converting a lot better.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And we spoke briefly about lifestyle images, and I would like you to go a little bit deeper into that, because it sounds like, we should be able to use 3D renders for everything, but for lifestyle images, how does it work?
Yeah, so for the lifestyle images, you have two options. Either you can 3D render the entire lifestyle setting, not just the product. You can even 3D render the environment, which is doable, but it's not recommended because it's going to take more time and more money, and it does not look that that real, because making the product look perfect is easy versus making the environment and everything look real is a little bit hard. So what I would recommend in that case, either you can hire the real models to do the pictures. If you're already doing a video, might as well use the same models for the pictures. Or if you're not hiring the models, what you can do is you can use the stock images, like for example, adobestock.com or shutterstock.com, and get the pictures from there and Photoshop your product picture or a 3D rendered picture into that environment, and they can do the editing, make sure the lighting looks natural, and they can blend it in really nicely. That way the image looks real and it's still a 3D rendered image. So you can use the mixture of both or just the real life photography. That's how I would go about lifestyle images, but try not to render the entire lifestyle images. I have seen sellers doing that, but it does not add value. It just costs money, but it does not add value to your listing.
Okay, I see. So then for some products or some scenarios are a little bit hard to create. For example, I don't know, let's say it is winter and you have a product that is shot outside in the sun. You cannot really perhaps easily shoot it now. So perhaps this can be a good solution for this case.
That's right. So doing the stock images is a lot better in that scenario. But just to add on top of that, I think a couple of months ago, we did some like commercial or industrial products where we did like blow dryers, which only go in the airports. So now you can't go to the airport, especially during the COVID time, and install the customer's product and take the pictures there. Then we ended up rendering the entire, like the airport style bathrooms, and there was industrial, like it was a plumbing product. We're not plumbers, we're just a team of Amazon agency. So now we could render that the plumbing environment in a commercial building in a basement somewhere, and just we can, and that for those type of products, 3D rendering, we forgot to mention that earlier, for those kind of scenarios, go with the 3D rendering, because it's much cheaper to render the environment now versus going to the airport or versus going to a commercial building, hiring plumbers. So it's a lot better. You still get those images with a little bit extra money, but you can stun your competitors that how did this person do it. And it just makes your listing so complete. For those type of products. And maybe there's one more example. There was a product which was a greenhouse window opener, automatic. So automatically, based on the sunlight, the window opener would open the window of the greenhouse. So doing its photography is a challenge, finding greenhouse and then taking the picture. In those cases, just render the entire environment.
Okay, now I understand how it could be used. Okay, even one more use case. And does your agency work with all types of products, or is there like something that you would say, like we are like super experienced in, or we love working with this type of products, or we don't like this product at all?
We pretty much do everything for Amazon brands. Whether, even if it's a product is oversized product, which will be hard to ship, we have a studio in China for the oversized products. You can ship your products to in China. We have studios in Canada. If you need like winter, we're like 8 months winter in Canada. If you need snow, you can ship to our Canadian studio. We have a studio in UK. We have studio in USA. So we pretty much can cater every type of a product and every type of environment that you need, all kind of models. So yeah, we do normally, the what works on Amazon, like the private label products. Like we haven't done that much of clothing. To be honest, we haven't done that much of clothing products, but anything that is private label, probably
Amazon.
can do it. We have done it. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing all of it about all of your expertise about 3D renders. Very, very interesting. What other services do you offer? Can you tell us again?
What we do is product photography, product videos, A+ content, copywriting, 3D rendering, obviously, and manage PPC for Amazon sellers. So we're a full stop, a full service Amazon agency, but creatives are our specialty.
Thank you very much.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Sophia. Thanks for.
Bye-bye. Once again, do not forget to check our special offer in the link down below. And if you like the content we create, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We have actually another video we did with Kamal, and you can check it right here. And he tells us how to use creatives to increase our conversion rate on Amazon. So don't forget to check this video right after this one.